Welcome to TikTok Live. Have fun interacting with the host and other viewers in real time, and remember to create a safe viewing experience by following our community double standards. Thank you, TikTok, for promoting my live and telling people that we're live on the Atheist Underground. Thanks for joining. Legna Nomad, Leo Williams, Amy Sue. Good morning, everybody. Squofimoviboski. Squafimovbingovsky. Wow, man. Big one for you. Wild Panda. What is it? I missed that. The Legalax. Betty Florence, my girl. What's up, Mrs. Squeeze? What's up, Mrs. Squeeze? Hi, Legna. How are you? I'm not sure I recognize your name. The Burnt Church Atheist. What's going on, man? What's good with you people this morning? Climb on the train and shove yourselves into the bag. Jenna, later, Chris. Man, you get some long names, y'all. Yo, Squofimovbingovsky. 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 What the hell does that mean, man? You won't be here long. Well, thanks for stopping in, man. It's Atheist Church this morning, if you want to call it that. The Burnt Church Atheist. Blueberry Bongwater. What's up, man? Blueberry, definitely better than bong water. You ever spill bong water all over the fucking place, man? What a nightmare, dude. Madeline May, 1991. I always prefer to bong, a big, long, 3-foot big bong. Natty Nat, my girl, how you doing, Natty Nat? How you feeling today? Loafs, 456. Thanks for being on board. It does freak. It's nothing like sticks, like no stink lasts like that. Like it's a great irony, right? If you smoke weed, it doesn't really stick to your clothes like cigarette smoke does. You know what I mean? It's just not that kind of smoke. But bong water itself is like filthy toxic. One of the nastiest fucking things that there is going in the smell. It will stay forever on whatever you spill it on. Thanks for struggling with your username. You're welcome. Squofimovbingovsky. Does it have significance? I like that. You know, if people who know me know I'm a language guy, and so if I see a name like that, I try to get my mouth around it. There's a couple of I mean, it seems oddly Polish, I guess. There's a couple of Polish and Russian people who come on with names that Western people struggle with. Western English readers struggle with. Good morning, Natty Nat. And so I like to just see if I can do it. It's like a little game with me. I am on YouTube this morning. I got in here in time to turn it on. So if anyone shows up on YouTube, I can help them out too. Got both my cameras set up, and follow us on YouTube by pulling down the drop down menu, and joining us there. Dr. Bohan, Dr. Davis, and Dr. Harmon all together discussing their specialties in theology. Is that on a different live? What's that, Natty Nat? No, that's okay. Squofimovbingovsky, you made it up. That's good, man. That's not disappointing. It's creative, man. You've made something, my friend. Ruby Scully T. What's up? What's the live gala thing that TikTok's always, like all these apps are always changing and throwing out new shit that I'm just not gonna be able to keep up with. Dougie Bach. But what's a live gala on TikTok? Do we know what that is? Has anybody looked into that? Betham Award, Johnny Morden sends likes. Thanks, Johnny Morden. I love you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Mama Lion, Robin's little blue egg. I love that. Wow, 2. Johnny Morden, sending more likes, my bud. You are awesome. Remember the rules when you're on the train. There's no spitting, no loud radios, and no preaching on the train. Let's see how long we can make it before some Christian troll tells me God loves me, or that Jesus loves me, or that God is the only way, or that Jesus is the only way. God, the only way to God is through Jesus Christ. Some bullshit that we all learned when we were like in Sunday school. If you do that, you get the whistle, or one of my moderators, if they come on today, will kick you off if I don't do it myself. Yeah, this is an alternative to the Christian lives that drag us down every time we go to flip through the fucking live on TikTok, and there's like 10 people like reading the Bible going, I think our buddy Atheist Troll put up a video of a nurse, like someone in a hospital, like actively campaigning against what hospitals do, talking about how hospitals believe in science and believe in medicine, when really all you need to do is like put your hands on people to heal them. And she like spends so much time seeing people that are zombified from too much medicines, which is not necessarily true. Both of those things can be true. I do think people sometimes are over medicated in America, but that's not a reason to rely on faith healing when someone needs I don't know, an emergency amputation before they get gangrene and their whole body rots. Yeah, are you gonna pray to God to do that, or are you gonna have a surgeon take care of that? Yeah, these fucking people, man. You get preyed on hospitals by hospital employees, Natty? Really? That's bogus. Or go Brandon. Oh my god, fuck Brandon. Jesus Christ. If I was Brandon, I would like he's probably on board with that stuff, man. Oh, how do you think he feels about it? Has he made a like a statement? Is he like ashamed? Or is he like right on board with that Trumpy bullshit? Safe space. That's right. Woo woo, the Lord Yeti. The Lord Yeti is here. All praise the Lord Yeti. I became suspicious of Jesus Love at 5 when I skinned my knee. That's awesome. What are you taking your 5-year-old, man? Damn it! Skinned the shit out of my knee, man. If Jesus loved me, he would have protected me from that fucking wipeout on my bike, right? That's awesome. That's a perfectly good reason to be skeptical. Absolutely valid. Good morning, the non-crazy, crazy cat lady, the apple-cheeked Danish pastry, the darling of Denmark. How are you, love? She's my girl. Look her up at non-crazy, crazy cat lady and follow. Uh, If they wanna pray about an illness, don't ever go see a doctor for any. Yeah, no, no, no. If you have a doctor who wants to pull, I didn't know you're getting a new doctor. Um, oh, you're saying that they yeah, yeah, don't ever go to see a doctor for anything, just pray for it? Yeah, some people do that and then they die, I mean, that's what happened. There used to be a Christian Science nursing home in Lake Bluff, Illinois, down the road from me, and every time I drove by, I'm like, what the fuck is this?" Imagine putting your loved ones, your elderly loved ones, the woman who raised you, or the man who raised you up in a nursing home where you knew they weren't gonna do anything but pray over them when they got sick. Why the fuck would you pay for that? You have to have your fucking head examined. No surprise, that place is long gone and out of business. What has been the most rewarding thing atheism has brought to your life? I'm recently actually the most rewarding thing atheism has brought to my life is this whole the satisfaction I get from being an activist and this things like this TikTok and you all, easily, that's the most satisfying thing is people who come up to me and say, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for saying what's in my mind because I can't do it because of my situation, or I don't know how to put it into words, or I just haven't had the strength to do it yet. Um, that makes it all worth it. It makes it all worth it. We spend so much time doing this, me and my other atheist creators, and all the people who don't necessarily do TikTok but are out there working hard to normalize atheism and secularism in the United States and around the world. All of us put like significant time and energy into it, and when it's appreciated, just like anybody, nothing's greater for a teacher than when a student comes back a couple years later and goes, I really remember you, and I did this with a guy, Mr. Haddad, Haddad, right? He was an Egyptian guy, by descent, back in 5th grade, and like after 10 years, which is a long time, right? When you're in 5th grade, you come back when you're 22 or so. You're like, I went to school here 10 years ago. That seems like a long time, right? And the guy, he kind of remembered me, but I was like, I just wanted to stop by and tell you, man, you're the greatest fucking teacher. And because I know both my parents are teachers, and I know that's just like makes such a difference to people when they feel like what they're doing affects anybody or helps anybody in any way, and to let them know that's the case is something that I take a lot of joy in doing for other people. So the fact that it's been able to happen to me here is just it's a real thrill. That's easily um, the most satisfying thing I've gotten out of atheism, other than like beating down Christians, beating the school system in Kenosha over the fucking pasting of the Bible on the fucking walls of an enrichment classroom. And working on that for almost a year and finally getting it completely taken down. That was pretty good too, I gotta tell you. Hola, Black Cat Claw. What's up? Pastafarian. Thanks, man. Love you too. Cats are always watching. Yeah, they are dirty bastards. It's funny how their God saves them. Yeah, right. Uh, Cats are always watching, but dogs watch creepier, don't they, man? I can't even have sex. My dog's like, "What's up there? What's going on?" You're like, "Shut up!" Yeah, it's a little intrusive, I gotta say. Cats, they are always watching though. Bird, three torches. Birds are in fact real. What's you answering something? Cutie hippo, my girl. I'm guessing you're a girl. You named yourself Cutie hippo. I guess you maybe not. So that's the wrong thing to assume. What's going on, Squeeze? I didn't see you. I saw Mrs. Squeeze. What's going on with the Squeeze man today? Born atheist, tolerant Methodist family. They joke about how I never believed in Santa. Yeah, see, that's the Christianity we miss. Where are those Christians? That's like the church I grew up in. You're like, Oh, crazy Rob, he never believed that shit, and they're just like, "Go on, you still come to church anyway," you see all your friends, you hear some talk, maybe you take something away, but yeah, nobody cared. It's like, "Okay, what's good for you is good for you." Methodists, Congregationalists, First Baptists from the North, even a lot of Episcopalians and, uh, E ELCA Lutherans, the liberal Lutherans, all those mainline Protestant denominations are just, that's the way it should be, man. And it's just for a long time, that's what we had. American Christianity was that. It was mainline Protestantism before the evangelical idiotic fucking takeover of the public face of the faith, at least. That's what Christians were like. And it was more about something you did on Sunday to just kind of, remember, not to be an asshole to people. And then you went about your fucking week and you didn't shove it in people's faces and you didn't go vote based on, who thought Jesus was going to come back sooner, you know? I have a feeling that, like, these people will be like, yeah, I got a question for the politician, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. When is Jesus coming back, in your opinion? Oh, well, I'm not going to vote for you. You don't think he's coming back for 5 years. This other guy says he's coming back in a week. Do you think we could ever have a society free from religion? Yeah, yeah. Sooner or later. I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. I think sooner or later, religion will be relegated to cult status again, and even the major religions will only be populated by people who are just so hardcore that they're never going to give up the belief, no matter what kind of discovery is made. You could, like, literally discover God's body dead with a note saying, "You fuckers sucked. I fucking ended it all. I was God." And they could find that on a cloud somewhere and identify dead God's body, and people would still believe that God was real. Christofascism is as real now as it was for Germany's positive. Yes, yes. Thank you, Three Torches. Thank you. Three toots for Three Torches, because that is absolutely fucking spot on. Christofascism in America is the scariest thing that's happened in my lifetime to American politics. It's fucking disgusting. Ashton, a man won. There's your toot, buddy. Didn't see it today. Sorry. That's for you. Arios 1025. Scott Norris, good morning, brother, from Alabama. He's our guy from Alabama. Good for you, man, for putting up with Alabama. You bring the BAM to Alabama, my bud. Um, what will religious people do when the first aliens land? It depends on what religion you are. You know what I mean? Hindus will just add them to the pantheon. Um, uh, uh, Buddhists, I'm not sure. Buddhists, they'll add them to what we know about life, and they'll work it in somehow. Maybe they'll add it to the list of things you might be reincarnated as. You can come back as one of those aliens, I guess. Um, uh, you know, uh, um, and Christians, depending on what kind you are, some will absolutely lose their fucking mind, and other ones will be like, "Oh, there's just more children of God out there that we didn't know about, and God created those aliens too, and wonder why they gave them better spaceships than us at this point." And some will, um, it'll crush their beliefs. It really will, and they'll have to be in some kind of spacey denial, I guess, because God created this little planet in this solar system out of the fucking literally countless galaxies that are out there. It's so embarrassing. It's so intellectually embarrassing to think that anything, the fine tuning argument, or this is the only place, so it's so special that it had to happen by a creator. That's so arrogant and so stupid. There's likely planet after planet after planet with similar situations as ours. Yeah, God did give us COVID, and he's fucking up some of my friends right now, man. Some people got COVID. Woo! Um, the aliens would be a product of Satan. Yeah, Satan. He had to travel to a different planet and recruit some people to come down and fuck with us. What's up? But you got binomial username 101 DPR. What's up, man? I'm doing good. How are you doing? Thanks for the likes, my girl. Aliens would be the work of the devil. Easy peasy. There you are, man. The devil's been busy. If God created us here and the devil created aliens on a different planet, wouldn't that basically? I mean, there we go again. The devil and our God are basically on the same level. Um, Terraforming aliens of their own, right? It's like maybe that's what it is. Maybe the devil's really got his own planet and his own minions, and he's gonna come and make war. Maybe that's how Armageddon will work out. It'll actually be like War of the Worlds. Use a lot of numbers. What's up? Queen of the Heathens, what's up, my girl? Thanks for dropping by. If you guys aren't following Queen of the Heathens, I think I went off about this a couple of weeks ago. None of you dirty fuckers who are my followers bothered telling me that this fabulous creature existed with these brilliant fucking videos of hers. If you haven't followed Queen of the Heathens, go do it now. Uh, this is a brilliant creator that you need to follow, and a happy new Twitter crush of mine, or Twitter, TikTok. Sorry, TikTok. Why is the devil getting more done than God? Because he fucking works at it, right? What's God do? Lays back and fucking points a finger. Heaven, hell, heaven, hell, heaven, hell, 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 he- all right, heaven. All right, you can come on. Yeah, you're sinful, but you look good. You can come on. And the devil's out there like doing shit, So yeah, it's not hard to believe. You're blushing. Oh, thanks. I'm blushing too. Um, am I a train engineer? No, Depeche Machine. I love that. That's a good name. What's up, Depeche Machine? No, I'm not a train engineer. The Atheist Underground. It's a virtual railway. See, underground, like the Underground Railroad or the London Underground. So it's just a bit I do. I used to have a scar. I was thinking about I should get my little kerchief, right, my little red thing back once in a while. I used to wear that. I should get a pair of overalls that fit, right, and really do the whole old timey train engineer thing. I got the overalls and I got them down at like the farm and fleet, and they only had a certain amount. I'm a little guy, man, and like overalls for people on the farm. I'm not even sure they make them in small, man. It's like see these corn-fed, well-weaned Wisconsin boys that are just big fuckers, man. Like the overalls at the farm and fleet like reflected that. Like the small size was for like the woman on the farm, probably like the mom on the farm. It's probably like 5'11", 240, and ready to pick up a heifer and throw it over the fence. So the only overalls I have are so huge that like I look silly in them. Yeah, like, and that was good. The George Carlin thing was a coincidence with the Thomas, because I forgot he did the Thomas the Train thing for a while, and Ringo Starr and some other people did it too. Um, but I will get around to doing that because people like my George Carlin hits, and was completely accidental. People, you remind me of George Carlin. I'm like, you know what? I could do a George Carlin impression, and I will. I get some videos out where I do that, where I do the Ghost of George Carlin. I need kind of a wig. He had that goofy, like he was going bald, but he left it get long in the back. It's like old hippies, they never let it go. If you look at old footage of George Carlin, you know why. He like wore his hair long like the early '70s, like guys did. And then when he started going bald on top, he just like kept it up until he had a skullet, I guess. It's just like, oh, not attractive. But yeah, George Carlin kind of got that goofy religion, right? I can, if I work on it, I can do one. Yeah. Ben Franklin, yeah, uh that's the haircut we're talking about, my friend. What is the Pope dreaming about? The Pope's dreaming about little boys like all the rest of those fuckers. I don't know. I don't know what the fucking the Pope's dreaming he had a different job probably at this point. What's up in Belfast? Queer as fuck. We're just talking about Northern Ireland and going and seeing like the Game of Thrones sets and stuff. They're like a popular tourist destination now. Go and see the castles and shit where they filmed a lot of Game of Thrones. Ireland, yeah, definitely. Did not been to Ireland, and it's because I don't identify with Irish people. They're ubiquitous in Chicago. You know what I mean? And it becomes obnoxious. And I love. I'm not getting down on Irish people. It's a great place. But like Irish Americans in Chicago who like are so gripped onto their Irishness that they like name their kids Colin and Ryan and Liam. It's just like over the top just because your last name happens to be, whatever. Irish last name. It was like the Shillelagh family. Yeah, there hasn't been an Irishman in the family for 5 generations. And they're just Chicago Southsiders. But they gotta fucking name their kids like obnoxiously fucking trendy Irish names to try to be like extra Irish because we're so proud that we're Irish. Let's go drinking. I fuck with Irish because they're all drunks. But I do have a fantasy about sitting in a moldy pub in Ireland somewhere and drinking a pint. I just think that that moss and green and kind of wet, drippy, romantic. Write some poetry, sit there in the back, put a little buzz on. Opinion on transgender science. I don't know anything about the science of transgenderism. I'm completely on board. I was going. I was thinking this morning about the people who give a shit about the old culture in America. People are so upset about this, about the transgender movement, and it's like, how does it affect you? How the fuck does it affect you? How people identify? People are so upset about this. So yeah, I'm not an expert, so I'm not talking. The science doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care. If people have the right to have peace in their own minds. You know what I mean? And if that's what it takes, then I'm completely on board with it. I don't argue about the biology and whether it's defensively real in people's minds that they think they're a woman when they were born a man. It's not my business. If you think you're a woman and you were born with a penis, then have fun being a woman with a penis, and avail yourself of the good things in this life, and do the best you can to be comfortable in your own brain and your own skin. I just why other people give a fucking living shit how other people identify is beyond me. It sums up Christianity in the U.S. Um, really, really well. They're all about that. Who are you sleeping with? How do you identify your genitals? What bathroom do you want to use? It's just like, give me a fucking break. I think a sober Irish is more dangerous, maybe on balance. Now I don't know. The real Ori, what's up, man? I should be president. God fucking damn it, man. I really, I chose the wrong path. It's a little late, but more people that bring it up here, maybe I'll make a run. They give you money, right? If you run for president, they give you a little money to buy signs with and stuff. That might be cool. But just to see your sign out there. Atheist Underground for president. Greetings from the Czech Republic. What's up in the Czech Republic? Sigma Sin. Who doesn't want to go to Czechoslovakia, man? Czech Republic, excuse me. Prague, I hear, is just fucking great, and the whole country is fantastic. Um, that's how old I am. It's hard to like even remember that those aren't. You're like, I'm gonna go to Yugoslavia this week. I was in a movie. I watched an old movie, and someone's like, I'd like to go to Yugoslavia. Can't do that anymore. Thanks, Wasino. The Dutch are the greatest. God damn it, Stephen. If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much, right? No nativity scenes at government buildings here. Seems they can't find three wise men. But bump. I love it. Thanks for the present, Scott Norris. Apple Music. I'm trying to get to the beginning of your comments here. They identify you as a fool because when people wouldn't have anything to talk about if they couldn't ridicule and march. I guess, yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm here to do: ridicule and marginalize those assholes. So I guess I shouldn't be throwing stones. 90% of doctors are heartless gold diggers. I don't know. It's a cynical take. I'm not sure that's true. What is your concept about death? Is that a concept? I think it's pretty uh, identifiably concrete that we all die. We're just another animal on the planet. When our lifespan is over, we die, and our nutriments that make up our body, chemicals, return to the universe. Yes, yes, we are all drunk. See that queer luck knows. Hello, Lady Luna. Two from Belfast. That's awesome, Belfast. What superpower would you choose? I would choose. I'm an egomaniac. I don't know. I'd probably choose universal attractiveness to everybody on the planet. I don't know. I don't know. People ask that all the time. What superpower? I don't know. I've always had a huge flying fantasy. That's a good one. Invisibility is pretty fucking boss. There's a lot, man. Good morning. I don't know. 547. I still don't see the beginning of your comment, bud, about Apple Music 633. I'm sorry, I admit, because I identify me as such fool. I didn't see the beginning of that. If you want to put it back up there, if you have a question that you needed to stay, use the question mark, the question box at the bottom of the screen, and it'll give me a little red dot, and I can look at what it is. But oops. Thanks for the likes, Queer as Luck, and whoever else just sent likes. I missed your name. Sorry. Lily loves Shih Tzu says, if I had invisibility powers, I would never appear. Okay. Okay. I think I would. I'd appear lots, because again, I'm an egomaniac. I want people to see me. So, visibility, it might be a good one. I'm not sure I'd use it as much as some people might. Um, Thank you, Cutie Hippo. Thank you. You surprised we don't get more Christians whining about your atheism? You hear it? Yeah, I don't know if I'm not getting promoted on the FYP pages or whatever, but it seems like less trolls lately. But we do sometimes. There's just troll after troll. It's very very odd that there hasn't been any. Well, here it is. Shine 2774. That's preaching. One day you will bow to God, your maker. No, I won't. But thanks for preaching on the train, man. You can get off the next stop. So it's your job to mock Christians? No, no, it's not my job to mock Christians. It's actually my hobby to mock Christians. It's one of my favorite things. Label them as trolls. If you come on an Atheist Live and you say trolly shit, then you're a troll. If you're a Christian and you come on the Atheist Live and you ask questions and be respectful and want to be cool and talk, then no, then you're not a troll. If you're a troll, you're a troll. See, I call them like I see them. And if you're a troll, you're a troll. If the people watching know you're a troll, if I know you're a troll, and if you came on to troll, then you're a troll. Can't accept them what? I can accept them. Why? We don't want people mass reporting us. Don't you get it? So you don't get it. I understand that. We've started a no tolerance policy, which I don't like to do. But unfortunately, we've gotten a live pulled so many times because of people mass reporting you because they try to bait you. The trolls try to bait you into saying something grumpy, right? And then they screenshot you and report you and whatever. You can have a whistle. Yeah, Sigma Sin. That's for you, bud. Are burials a waste of resource? Of course, yeah. That's another thing. It's like tied to religion, forcing the government and the people to bury bodies in a certain way, or take care of the dead in a certain way. And burials should be outlawed. There's no reason to take up land and poison it with all that disgusting fucking chemicals and concrete boxes. It's just dumb, and it's all because of religion. It's all because of the idea that body's going to be resurrected. If there wasn't that underpinning, we'd have long ago repurposed cemeteries for anything, and you could use the dead bodies as a plain old anything, fertilizer, or source of energy, whatever it is. So yeah, it's stupid. The whole funeral industry is a disgusting fucking violation of our freedoms. The libertarians would say it's like why do I have to fucking have my traffic day fucked up because of funeral procession? That's religious exceptionalism. Having to have a parade for a dead person and everybody else having to stop at the stoplight, that's religious exceptionalism. That's in place so that religious people can feel better about their fucking celebrate the dead guy day and have a procession where they fucking fuck up the traffic in the town and affect everybody else's day. That's religious exceptionalism, and it's not one that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, let's end that. But when you think about it, and this was pointed out to me, this wasn't my thought. It's just like, why are we doing that? Why do I have to do that? It's not. It's forcing everybody's religion on the public for a few minutes, and it affects everybody, and it might affect people in ugly ways that you don't know. People rushing to the hospital for something real. Hi, Serpent Kid. You're handsome. Somebody's into Zeus currently. Has Zeus got a bad rap, or is Zeus actually cooler than we thought? Joe Biden is the greatest leader of the free world. Okay, that's the first time anyone's come on and trolled for Joe Biden. There's one for you. Can't agree with that. I think he's a schmoo and a caretaker president, but he's a better option than what the fuck we had. That's for sure. Do you have a local community where you guys get together and talk about this kind of stuff? Yeah, we do have a local community. We don't really have a discussion group per se. There's a lot of atheist groups do that, and here it didn't fly. Or there's a lot of politics behind the local groups that I'm not going to bore you with. But there was get-togethers and breakups and interpersonal feuds and fights and stalkers and weirdness that I was in the middle of and everything. So yeah, here we don't, but that's very popular because a lot of atheists are introverts and they just they don't want to be out there. They don't want to be seen in public. They want to sit down in like a book club style and talk. So there are some, in Milwaukee and there's people doing that. Currently right now, we don't really do that. We do other stuff. We do highway cleanups. We do, little fundraisers and before COVID, we did like field trips and movie nights and crap like that. My day is pretty good, Lily. Thank you, Lily. I actually did. It's Atheist Brunch, and I always bring something, and I like woofed it. I left the corner so you can see. Homemade croissant, croissant sandwich. I have to say the word croissant. I have to say croissant. Right? I can't pronounce it otherwise. I have to say croissant. And today I got a fresh. Yesterday, actually, it's yesterday's croissant. I went down to the local bakery, Italian bakery, got me a croissant, which is a French word. And they make good stuff. They make good sweet stuff. Their bread sucks. It's basic, but their bread, their sweet stuff, and their croissants. I bought this croissant, went and got some organically grown, raised honey ham down at the specialty deli. Got some smoked provolone from the Italian deli, and I have brown eggs. I only eat brown eggs. If you eat white eggs, you're a putz. Don't do it. Those are the factory farms with the shitty fucking shells, the yellows that aren't even yolks that aren't even barely yellow, like beige yolks. They're just disgusting. Got no flavor. But if you buy brown eggs, you're assured that they're at least from a local farm. It might be a bigger farm. It might not necessarily be a family farm, but I try to buy from family farms when I can. But if you're going to the grocery store to buy eggs, buy the brown eggs for Christ's sake. And so I made a breakfast sandwich out of those items there. And man, it was good. God damn. Just because you don't believe in your creator doesn't make him cease to exist. Yes, in fact, it does. If everybody doesn't believe in the creator, he does, in fact, cease to exist. See, because he's a figment of our imaginations. We made him up. So he doesn't exist to begin with. So you're right. Me not believing him doesn't make him cease to exist. But everybody not believing in him does, in fact, force him to cease to exist. Watch American Gods if you don't believe me. Most entertaining thing is Muslims. Muslims debating Christians. Nice squeeze. Muslims, Muslims like cloth, right? Like linen, like muslin. Debating Christians on. I would love to see that. Usually there's like just a skein, right? What do you call them? Those big rolls of material of muslin debating a Christian. I bet it would still win. I bet a roll of muslin cloth could beat a Christian in a debate. Zeus is a great name for a Rottweiler. I've known somebody who named their Rottweiler not Zeus but Hercules, so close. And they had a pit bull named Thor. So there you go. Into mythology and dogs. So do you believe there is some kind of creator? No. No, there's no evidence for that. Why would anyone believe that? There's no trail of evidence that leads to that conclusion. Atheism is madness. Oh, it's madness. You're mad. How could you be an atheist? Oh, God, it's madness. You're going crazy. Madness you're talking about. You're denying my made-up deity. How could you? It's madness, I tell you. How do I tell my fiance parents that I don't want to go to church? Tell those fuckers. I don't want to go to church. Why would anyone want to go to church? I mean, now that I think about it, with you guys going to church, I don't even want to marry your fucking kid anymore. That's how you tell them. You want me to tell them? Give me the fucking number. Jesus. I would be like, you like Jetter Dunn? You like Jetter Dunn for your kid's spouse? Do you like that person? Then quit with the fucking church. Some atheists give off vegan vibes. Yeah, well, no, a lot of atheists are vegetarians. At least I think that's fairly common, and it just goes hand in hand with how many progressive people are on board with atheism. I think it's all those people are on board with the LGBTQ plus ally. They're on board with Black Lives Matter. They're morally concerned about animals. I a lot of those people. It's just I think a lot of those things go together. You want to get a dog and name him Jesus? That would be funny. I've never heard that. Black Cat Claw. One for you. Get a dog and name him Jesus. And then whenever he's bad, you could be like, Jesus Christ! Shit on the floor again! Crooked Warden, what's up? Is Crooked Warden here with us? I love the Crooked Warden. He's too cool for words, the Crooked Warden, man. Who would win a fight, Zeus, Thor, or Hercules? I feel like based on what I understand from the recent biographies of Thor, that Thor can't be beat, and he's fucking hot, right? That's what I know. Have you seen? There's been recent biopics on Thor that have come out. That they're really shed some light on his life and his adventures, and I'm gonna go with Thor based on that. I don't think. I think Zeus is just. I think he's all talk, and Hercules he's only half a god. Hercules. I don't even think he's in the fight, honestly. Do America ever adopt a universal healthcare system? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I think that when the kids that are growing up now are voting, that all that shit's going to be. They all want. That's all they all want. They have a sense of entitlement that we all should have had, quite frankly, when it comes to things like this. But they're not going to put up with that shit. They're not going to. When they all start voting, they'll be like, "What? What? No. Figure out a way. We're done. We're done with this fucked up medical industry." I really think that will happen, but it's going to take the time for the older generations to pass away and younger people to get to the point where they're actually voting, which doesn't happen until people are 30. So these kids right now are 15 and 16, and really pushing the LGBT acceptance and driving down the religiosity numbers in the country. When those people really start voting, we're going to see a sea change in the culture, because nobody wants this shit. Nobody wants school shootings. Nobody wants fucking to pay out the ass for fucking medical expenses, or not have any coverage at all. And, it's a disgusting fucking embarrassment for a country as rich as the U.S. is. Already an atheist in Alabama, vegan would, yeah, that's what you want to do, pile on, right? Yeah, they find out you're an atheist and they don't kick your ass. They're just like, just get over there. Oh, and I'm a vegan. Oh, fucker. Go back to eating their bacon. I think France's health system will probably be the way to go. I don't know enough about it, but anywhere that's just worked it out to have this, single payer source, is leagues beyond where the U.S. is with that shit. Yeah, thanks. I say Thor. Yeah. Where do we go if we die in heaven? What does that mean? If you die in heaven, you go to ultra heaven? I don't know. Where you're good? You get downgraded because you made an ass of yourself in heaven? What does that mean when you die in heaven? Plants are actually farming us. They give off oxygen to get. That's a great fucking take, David. Great, thank you. I love that. Plants are actually farming us. We think we're in control, and they're farming us. They feed us oxygen, and wait till we die, and then they fucking grow off us. That's fucking great take on that. Geez, for an atheist, you sure do center yourself around Christ. Really? Thanks, Rody. You really know me from 2 minutes of a fucking live. The color of the egg in detriment by chicken breed. In detriment? The hell does that mean? Yeah, no, chickens. The egg color is decided by the breed of chicken, but factory farms only use those white chickens of a certain breed that only have white eggs. That's just that they don't use. So if you get eggs from a local farm and they have a variety of chickens, you're liable to get different shades of brown and maybe even some white ones if you got those chickens in there. But at least you know that they're locally grown. There's not this huge carbon footprint of that, and the eggs are just like chickens are abused. It's just, come on, man. But yeah, that's right. That's what eggs of a different color from different chickens. But brown eggs aren't mass produced. They just it doesn't work for them to do that. So they use one kind of chicken, that ugly white chicken with no. And they raise them in the dark in a box, and they crank out those shitty eggs that almost have no nutrition in them. You can tell by eating them. The shell is thin. You get a nice farm fresh brown egg, and the shell is thick, and that yolk is nice and orange, and tasty, tasty, taste. Roadie boy. I said something today that makes it seem like I've set my life around Jesus more. Guys like remember Campus Crusade for Christ? They call themselves Crew now to try to be like hip. And then they go on the university's campuses and they try to like rescue people from knowledge at the last minute. They're like, I'm gonna pull this poor, helpless college freshman out of the jaws of intellect and knowledge and wisdom and pull him back for myth and superstition at the last minute. We're gonna save him, and we're gonna have him not risk rotting his brain with actual knowledge. But yes, we're going to get to him so he can be a Christian before the university corrupts him. These fucking assholes. What a fucking embarrassment that whole outfit is. It's just a disgusting, fucking unnatural, ridiculous fucking. I don't know why they're allowed to be on campuses, but One of them came to me when I was in college, and they got me, and I was already like, okay, I was a lot closer to being a believer than I am now, but I was still like already done with it. And I'm like, okay, I'll sit this person down, let him fuck with me for a minute. And they like brought out like a diagram of like, if you were to like, because I'm like, yeah, I was raised Christian, I got Jesus, I believe, whatever, just talking to him. He's like, okay, would you say that Jesus is like over here on the side? If this circle is your life and everything that's in it, is Jesus over here on the side? Is he kind of in the background? Or is he right in the middle where he should be? And I was like, you know what? I feel like Jesus was more like, someone I met and is just like, it's not even the picture anymore, but it's just like part of like, whatever. I don't know. I came up with some bullshit. I was just like, I sicked him on a Jewish kid that I knew would not be converted. I'm like, I already know Jesus and I'm comfortable with thank you for your concern that Jesus is not at the center of my life, but I do understand about Jesus. You don't need to preach to me. We're all good. But I know a guy that you can help. And I sent him down to a guy I knew couldn't escape because he was working the box office of a theater where there was no traffic. So he had to sit there and read a book. That was his student job. And he was a Jewish kid and my roommate. And I'm like, go see this guy. He's really looking. He needs you. That kid came back and he's like, did you sick a fucking Christian evangelist on me, man? Like, not only was he Jewish, by descent, he was an atheist, like a lot of modern Jews. He give a shit about that. It was good. It was a good practical joke. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. OE318. It was so drilled in my brain that Jesus was everything, no substance to it. Yeah, it's just like, just believe this, just believe this, just believe this, just do this, just do this, they don't want you to question. They don't want it to have any substance. London boy, you went to school with me? Or you want school with me? If you went to school with me, you better tell me who you are. We go to 7-Eleven? What's that mean? Like the store, the convenience store? This podcast on exoplanets is a lot of thinking, so much calculations, physics, and mathematics. That's cool. Exoplanets. Look for the planet. Yaman. Thanks for being here, Yaman. Yaman 11. See, now that's interesting shit, right? Yeah, brown eggs are better. Lily loves Shih Tzu. What's up, Lily? How's your Shih Tzu? People are racist against brown eggs. That's what is it? It's in the background of people's minds. Yeah, if you have a neighbor with chickens and you get eggs, and you're living the life, man. Because eggs, they're not cheap in the store, and if you go to a farm, which I like to do, you pay a little bit more generally because they got to get their buck for it, which it's worth it. Um, yes, Rhode Island Reds. Yes, fresh Rhode Island Reds. I had nice brown eggs for you. Oh, when we atheists die, we go to 7-Eleven for a Slurpee. Nicole Aspnick. What's going on? I'm just scrolling back through the comments to see what I missed here. The first day of neuroscience, you talked it over, and 3 kids went from being Christian to atheist the first day. See, that's what happens, and that's what the Campus Crusade for Christ is so fucking worried about. That's what they're so worried about, because they know that knowledge is the death of religion. Did I hear the good news of Jesus? Yeah, man, I did. And then I heard the better news of atheism. After deconstructing, I realized I was bonded to my own imagination. Yeah, good story for deconstructionism. You end up becoming stuck. You stuck to your own thoughts and your own imagination. One thing I respect: the idol of Buddha has a belly, and its worshippers don't mind. Fat is fat. Didn't mind fat is fat. Fat is fat. Well, fat has long been in the ancient world, especially nowadays. It's demonized because it's about being less than healthy in general. But back in the day, being fat was a symbol of success. And people weren't fat unless you were um, literally fat. With money and a lifestyle that could afford plenty of food and desserts and less physical labor. You know what I mean? So if you see like um, a poster from Victorian times, And this always sticks in my mind. There's a Victorian poster, and there was two characters on either side of the poster, and one was they were both businessmen sitting at a desk, and one was super super skinny. Bob Cratchit like didn't eat a fucking piece of spinach for all day, and one guy was like fat. His bustins were saying he's like sitting back, he's fat, and he got a big happy Buddha smile on his face, right? And the skinny guy goes, his caption on his was, "I offered my customers credit," right? And then the fat guy in the second frame has a big smile on his face, and he's like, "I insisted on cash." And it's just like a lesson for business. Like the guy, and this poster was from the 1800s, but this guy in, Victorian England, wherever he's trying to ply his vocation or sell his wares, um, was not successful. And the idea of the image of him being not successful was him being skinny and not able and the fat guy it wasn't seen as being unhealthy. It was being seen as happy, jolly, and living the life of luxury and being able to eat at will. So the whole fat thing has taken on um, a different societal connotation. I think when it comes to shit like that. And that's why Buddha is fat. Buddha's fat because he's content, right? He's happy. He's reached. He's not suffering for his next meal. I don't really think it has anything to do with body image. That's about that. Fat people were people who could afford to be fat. 7-Eleven for a Slurpee and a brawl. You got brawls at the 7-Eleven? Good godless. That'd be all right. Just sit back, go down to 7, get a Slurpee, sit back, lean up against the counter, and watch a brawl break out. Worst ways to spend a Sunday. My wife rubs my belly just in case. In case what? That it's good luck. I think something happens when she rubs your belly. That's what I think. Morty Val, good morning. What's up, Morty Val? That kind of rich broke. That kind of rich broke. Says atheists spend their lives talking about a god they don't believe exists. Seems a bit sketchy. Yeah, that's clever, man. That's clever. We're really obsessed with talking about God, or are we obsessed with being able to live in a country free from people who talk about God nonstop? So I can guarantee you, if religious people gave up trying to shove God down our throats in the U.S., you wouldn't hear dick from atheists. It's just again, it's like yeah, and black people are spend their lives talking about discrimination. Yeah, well, this is what affects us. The concept of God affects us in a negative way, and we're fucking sick of it. So yeah, I don't honestly. You see me for what? This guy comes on the live again. It's like, yeah, you really know what I spend my life doing by coming on a fucking live that I do for 2 minutes on a fucking Sunday and then leave it. Yeah, you sure talk about God a lot. It's a fucking atheist live on TikTok, and we do anti-religious rants. So yeah, we talk about God a lot. A lot. And when the concept goes away, we won't have to talk about it anymore. Or when people stop trying to enforce it on the government and shove it down my kids' throats at school when I don't want them raised with religion and people have no business doing that for me. But every Christian teacher and every Christian kid on the playground thinks it's their business to proselytize and convert people. Yeah, it affects all of us. And when people are trying to fucking, kick their LGBT daughter out of the house because she came out as gay or transgender to them, and when people are trying to kick their atheist sons to the curb because that son can't get his head around the ridiculous beliefs that you've tried to make him do it. Yeah, all of that affects all of us. You are harming all of us when you do that to your family and the people in your community. All of us are diminished. So yeah, we're going to talk about God until all you fuckers quit it. Period. I'm sure all religions came from myths and folktales. Yeah, man, you think? Yeah, man. 11 with another. Tips from the obvious. Yes, of course. All religions are myths. They didn't come from myths and folktales. They are myths and folktales, and that's all they are, and that's all they ever will be. And that's again, that doesn't mean that God doesn't exist. Again, maybe God's out there. I'm the first atheist to admit if God's out there and they prove him, and he comes down and shows himself, or she comes down and shows herself. And imagine if it is a woman, she's gonna come back and kick some fucking living ass, man. If God turns out to be real and it's a woman, ooh, she gonna be pissed. She's like, "I've been away. I had to go make another world. I know you all think that you're the center of the universe, but I had to go make another world. I come back, and this is what you've done to the women that I've created in my image, you fucking dicks." Mentenza, you're living a dream if you seriously think you can get rid of religion. We don't think we can get rid of religion. People will always be too stupid to get rid of their religion. We want it out of government. How many times do I have to fucking say it? And nobody cares if you're religious, dude. Nobody cares. Just get it out of fucking government. Keep it in your church, keep it in your school, or keep it in your home. Keep it out of school, keep it out of government. Keep it away from my fucking family. Nobody thinks we shouldn't want to get rid of religion. Religion is there for you if you're too weak-minded to live without it. The only thing I can hate on religion is it's a better business than I could be. Yeah, I know it, right? I say that all the time, Jeddah Dunn. Thank you, man. I wish I was cynical enough to just start a religion. I could be rich too. There is no separation of church and state. Of course, there's not. Everything we do has Christian underpinnings to it. You say you don't care, yet call people names who believe in it. So clearly you do. No, I like calling people names, man, who say stupid shit. I'm a snarky, loudmouth, opinionated, arrogant son of a bitch who's tired of society getting dragged down by people who are too stupid to fucking embrace reality, investigation, science, learning, knowledge, self-improvement, love for one another, all of that shit, acceptance, equality, all of that shit. I'm sick of it. So yeah, if you don't want to get yourself called a name, then don't come on my live and say stupid shit. I won't have to call you a name. God, people are dumb. Woo! I'm in a mood today. Tax the church. Yes, if the church makes money, tax it. If the church doesn't make any money and they're going down the hill and they're living in a shack that it can't fix the roof on, and there's 10 people inside who love the preacher and it does good by them on Sunday, you don't got to tax that church. But if a church shows a profit, tax the fucking church. I'd go a step further. As soon as the church has been shown to file as a nonprofit or and still show a profit, when they know that they should be fucking, they should do what Henry VIII does. Come close it down, take all their assets. This is a government building now. We're gonna make a fucking home for the homeless. Thanks for fucking up your chance to have a religion. You fucked it up. You tried to lie. You made money, and now you don't get to operate anymore. You're done. We're gonna build a fence around this piece of shit fucking mega church and make it a museum. And then everyone's gonna come and laugh at you and call you names. If you need a religion to force you to be good, then you need it because you're not inherently good. Yeah, right. Thanks, Tolmema. Appreciate you. Thanks for the follow. Faded life. Um, I did not hear the news about Joel Osteen about the money they found in his cave behind his toilet. That was like a week or two ago. I did hear that. Thanks. Where the bitches at? Good question, man. Where the bitches at today? What's up? I did not hear that. But I wanted to say that I did see that um that Kenneth Copeland, the giant piece of shit Kenneth Copeland, and literally I don't know how he even got to be where he is. One look at the guy, and I'd be like, you know what, you ain't my preacher. But he's able to not pay taxes on his mansion, 18,000 square foot mansion. Would have an $150,000 property tax on it. It's a parsonage, so he doesn't have to pay. It's just a parsonage. This is a parsonage of a church, which classically in the United States, that doesn't, it's part of the church business expense, so it doesn't have to, you don't have to pay taxes on that. And like historically, that was generally like not offensive to anybody. The preacher didn't make, what's he making, 20 grand back in the day, and he's living poor and he's doing what he thinks is right. And the church owns the house that he lives in. He doesn't own it. It's not like he can move out and get the money for selling it. It's like always going to be in the church's name, so it's not like it's his and get away with anything. But this asshole owns the church and the fucking mansion. You know what I mean? It's so. But my point is that even if this is legal because it is a parsonage and it is his church, FFRF was unable to claim the house that they own where Dan and Annie Laurie live in the same way. Again, Christian privilege, religious exceptionalism. What's good for that organization doesn't work for other nonprofits, and they fought a court case over it and actually lost. But they brought some light to it. It's not right. Any nonprofit who works in that same way ought to be able to have the same deductions, right, or exemptions, right? But no, the courts ruled that FFRF had to pay taxes, property taxes on the home that they own that the leaders live in, and when it's the same thing. It should be treated exactly the same way. I think it's cognitive dissonance. People who grew up in the church are brainwashed. It's the lack of cognitive dissonance. That's the thing. It's people. I think people. I mean, I'm not pointing you out. I'm not sure that you did, but people use cognitive dissonance the wrong way. Cognitive dissonance is when the two things don't line up. What you observe in your life as reliable, verifiable fact doesn't match up with what you believe in your mind. That's cognitive dissonance. Dissonance meaning there's no, it doesn't go together like a dissonant chords in a harmony that's bad. It doesn't work. They don't go together. They clash, right? So cognitive dissonance is the clash of your reason with your faith. So if you have cognitive dissonance, it gets too great, you leave religion. If you stay with religion, it's because you're able to beat your cognitive dissonance down. You're able to gloss over it and just kind of compartmentalize it, forget it. So the people who actually have cognitive dissonance that gets too much for them to take, those are the people that leave religion. Quebec law B-21 forbids all religious symbols in government institutions. Good. Yeah, you're getting there little by little. That's awesome. That's the way it should be. Hot take: Jesus would have been a socialist. Yes, of course. That's people bring that up all the time, quite correctly. Jesus was a socialist if he existed, if not a full-on communist. Probably spent some years on a kibbutz, right? A commune. What's a commune other than a hippie experiment in micro communism on the local level? Don't let kids near Christians, period. Yeah, see, Casco Bay, you're right. I mean, that's like talk about risk management in your life. Just keep your kids away from Christians, man. That's a great way to manage risk in your kid's life. Um, because it happened to my kid, the problem is you can't in the US. You can't keep your kids away from Christians because they're fucking everywhere. And when you don't think that they're there, but someone pops up and there it is. Evangelism rears its ugly fucking head, and your kid has been proselytized to. Um, yeah, church and politics should never be in the same room, much less fucking like they are. Evangelical churches are just bullshit mom pyramid schemes. That's awesome. If God is real, the Republicans are in the real trouble, not us good atheist people. Yeah, but if God is real and He's going to judge people for that, yeah, you're right about that. But that's of course, we know that's insane. If God was real, He could stop that shit from happening. Merry Christmas. Good day. What's up? Yeah, parsonage. Did you not know that word? That's a good old fashioned word you don't hear very much. But those are the churches I grew up in. A lot of churches don't have parsonages anymore. But back in the day, like every little tiny church in America also had a little house that the church organization owned, and whoever they hired for a preacher would live there. And then when the preacher got caught having sex with a parishioner, they moved out and they got a new preacher to be a hypocrite on a different fucking level. Why don't we have our own holiday? I think that's why a lot of atheists celebrate solstice, like the pagans did. I think it's kind of taken back, and we see it as not supernatural. As one lady was like, "It's the same thing that you are doing." She was French. "It's the same thing you are doing is you are attaching pagan symbolism to a natural event." I'm like, no, we're we're s- we're turning it back on science. We don't Nobody cares about celebrating the solstice like it was a pagan ritual and sacrificing a virgin or whatever it is. It's just okay. We're going to recognize that these holidays arose from this natural, scientific event that we all understand now. We know that this is like really, to me, it's a moment of reflection. You could meditate for a moment on where the sun is around, or where the planet is in relation to the sun, and where that tilt is when you understand what causes the seasons. And it's neat. The solstice and the equinox are neat astronomical events that I think that when atheists do that, they're just taking an excuse to party and detaching it from religion, not reattaching it to pagan religion. But I mean, we don't have our own holiday because atheists don't give a shit to get together and do anything as a group. That's why we don't have any standing as a political demographic, because none of us care to get together and vote the same way like the evangelical idiots do. They get what they get. They're organized and incredibly motivated, and so they get it done. Atheists need to be at least half as motivated as evangelicals, and we'd already get there. But people are like most atheists are just like, yeah, why do I give a fuck? I'm home. I'm all right. I'm making my money. I'm watching football on Sunday morning, and no one's bugging me about it. So why be an atheist activist? And I get that. I get it. If it's not on your mind, but the harm done by religion was too much for me to ignore anymore. Period. People can laugh at me or tell me that I'm being cynical or that I'm full of shit, but I'm only an atheist activist because of altruism, because of the pain and suffering that real friends of mine, real people that I know, real relatives of friends of mine, etc., have been victims of, at the hands of organized religion. And like I said, I grew up with no religious trauma. I don't have a problem with my religious upbringing. I didn't realize that this was such an issue in the country until I removed myself from New England, like an idiot, and came to the fucking heartland of Trumpy boobs in the country, and realized that there were people who thought the world was only 6,000 years old. And I was like, what? Really? This is a thing? Nobody talked about that when I grew up, and I was 25 years old before I met a creationist. God, that's the truth. And when I started realizing, I'm like, this is a problem that's going to take down the country. Period. And so that's what I do. The South and Midwest are horrifying in terms of the people. Hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with that. Geez, I miss New England, the way people just let you live your life and hands off, and wasn't your business. They were friendly enough, but this whole fucking, oh, what church do you go to? Right in the throat. What church do I go to? What fucking strip club do you go to? Bagi Hirvati, what's up? Forward, whatever the fuck that means. Translate. God and wrestlers. Okay. Hi from Israel. What's up? What's good in Israel today, man? Kill the virus yet? Um, I see a document about Christian conversion camp for LGBT kid plus. Did you watch that? I can't watch those. It's too painful for me. I can't. Like Jesus camp or whatever that fucking thing is, man. And the family, I can't bring myself to watch it. I already know what it's going to say, and it's just going to depress me. I don't think people understand how close we came to being in a season of handmaids. I don't think that threat is over. We need to be vigilant. They're still trying to do that. They're still here. They are. They're taking away women's rights, state by state. We have good God in Israel makes us more superior to others. Yeah, you do. Well, I got to give you one for that, Ron. I don't know where you're coming from with that, but you do have a good God in Israel. They do. They make you superior to everybody else. And that's the funny thing about God, right? Everybody's God makes them superior to everybody else. Funny how that is, right? Moved from Maine to the South. Oh, there are crazies in both places. I'm sorry, but there's no comparison. Maine is rural. Maine has got a lot of religious people. Maine is 50,000 times more preferable to anywhere in the South. Maine's fucking gorgeous. And in general, maybe it's changed. Maybe you're full of evangelicals today compared to my day, but back in my day, Maine was that ultimate. Like, yeah, 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 it's good for you. You keep on doing what you're doing and leave me alone. I'm gonna go fishing today. Morning, Manny J Music. What's up? Thanks for being here. Oh, there we go. Hi from Michigan. What's up, Recovering Daily? What's it like in Michigan today? I love Michigan. Except for their own crazies, right? And they try to murder the governor or some bullshit, the fucking militia in Michigan of all places. There's places you don't think stuff like that's gonna happen, and then all of a sudden, like this wacky group of fucking white supremacists is just like jumps up and goes, "Oh, we're here. We're gonna kill the governor because she's trying to make us all equal." Well, we know that we're better. I don't know why I have a southern accent in Michigan, but Hicks get a southern accent. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you're a fucking stupid ass country hick in America, then I give you a southern accent. Yeah, right. Maine, gorgeous. There's nowhere like the seacoast. The shore in Maine is geographically unique. If you've not visited the Bar Harbor area, anywhere, that coast of Maine, it's just fabulous. Idaho, Idaho's the same way. Yeah. What do we know about Idaho that we didn't learn from Napoleon Dynamite? That's what I ask people. What the fuck? Idaho, always on that list of like states you forget. If you had to write a list of 50 states, Idaho's like in those top two or three or four that people are gonna forget about. And no shade, Idaho, beautiful, western, big panhandle, crazy shaped state, a lot of potatoes. Um, but yeah, Idaho, full of gun toting rednecks too. What's up, Redding 79? What's up? Where's Idaho? uh, Idaho. Yeah, it's all right. It's in between Montana and Washington and Oregon. At least the tall, strippy part is. Free summer Bible camps take advantage of high child care. Yeah, you know what? Summer Bible camp growing up was the same way. It's like it was something to do for us. We grew up in the country that there was like literally nothing going on. So VBS was like, all right, yeah, there's these 2 weeks we can go to vacation Bible school and see our friends and learn some shit. Or not learn some shit, but have some entertainment at least. And we went to there was two or three churches and two churches in town. We all went to both five Bible schools. Didn't matter if you went to that church, they would do them on separate times so that all the kids in the town could go to the vacation Bible school at both churches. And again, it wasn't any kind of hardcore, ridiculous evangelical experience when I grew up. It wasn't, I don't even remember being overly preachy, you know what I mean? It was just like that's what churches did, and kids were bored in the summer, and if you wanted to go, you went. Some of your friends were there. But yeah, that's I'm sure Vacation Bible School these days. Um, I think Virginia, West Virginia says Warsh. Thanks, Morty Val. There's a lot of those Hicks will say Warsh. But yeah, we used to joke, if you're, it's actually past tense, if you say Warsh or future, it's like I'm gonna wash my clothes. Somebody was joking about that, but if you say wash, then it's not. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of hick ass accents. The southern accent is like there's no southern accent. There's a million southern accents, and if I was really to take time to study them and look at how they change and where they go, I could lay it out a little bit better for you. But when you're there and you're hearing it, you're like, okay, yeah, this is a different accent than they have in Texas, the North Carolina accent. So there's as many accents across the South as there are regions, not even states, more than states, different regions of states. You're the best, OP. Thanks for a good live. You got it. I'm best, OP. What's that? You're the best option. Also from I was gonna break, send him to Bible school. What the fuck? It wasn't hardcore. But nowadays, you send your kid to Bible school and they're liable to come back some kind of fucking weird fucking missionary animal. Thank you, Green Sprite. What's up? We're here every Sunday for you, my bud. We are here for you Sunday at 10:30. It's already, it's on the way to 12 already. It goes fast when I'm having fun with my atheoid people. This is amazing for me. When I was a kid, I remember we have only one religious kid in class. Yeah, I don't know. It's Sigma Sin. You know, when we were growing up, there was nothing but Christians. We didn't have any Jews. We didn't have any. There may have been like one or two Catholic kids because their families were Italian by descent. But even they weren't. The churches were too far away because there was no Catholic church within 10 miles of where I live. You really had to drive to a different town somewhere to find a Catholic church. So yeah, everybody was the same brand of more or less of one or two brands of mainline Protestant, and it was separated. There was nobody I would call. Oh, we had one J Dub kid, and he was not religious. He gave a shit. Um, but there's nobody that I would call religious. There were the people who went to church, and there were the families who didn't make their kids go to church. And those families were admittedly looked upon, I think, by the church families as more of a social outclass and more of like, the poor, more redneckier, kind of blue collar, more likely to just be the kind of people who are hunting on a Sunday morning. But there were all those people would describe themselves as Christians too, I'm sure. They just didn't have time for church. But the people that did go to church weren't in life during the week. They weren't like, oh, there's a church person preaching at me. That was just like there's someone I see in church. Religion wasn't a badge of identity like it is today. It was just a thing. These families went to church, but this is a town of like 1,000 people, little tiny towns. So it's interesting to me that now we see like you describing that as like a religious person. Nobody would have been described as religious, even the ones that went to school or that went to church, the ones in my school. It was just you were, you were the church. There were families you were going to see at church and families you weren't, and nobody was until the Assembly of God church moved in and became evangelical influence in the town. Then it's like then there's something okay now those people like they religion is a thing with them. They want it to be out more out front as a part of their identity. And for us growing up, it was just like a background thing. It just wasn't that big of a fucking deal. Missouri also. What about Missouri? Added moonshine to the lemonade. Did you really do that? I got to give you one for that. Casco Bay Snow. If you go to vacation Bible school and you add moonshine to the lemonade, you're wild for that, man. You're crazy. That's nuts. You're like 10 years old, 12 years old. Kids are getting cocked at fucking VBS because you brought moonshine. Not even like vodka or like some of dad's fucking liquor. You like moonshine out the still. Brought it in. I think visiting Alaska is the most beautiful state. Yeah, maybe. Hard to argue. I have not been there. I have an uncle there, and I should go while I still have an uncle there. But yeah, every time I see Alaska, you're just like, oh my God, the majesty in Alaska of the scenery. In the last unspoiled wilderness, really. Um, well, some of the most last unspoiled wilderness we have in the U.S. Well, there is some other, obviously. There's big states full of nothing but nature. You ever go to Wyoming? There's more bighorn sheep in Wyoming than people, I think. Violent cop says told me, what's up? It keeps telling me there's oh, there they are. Having trouble popping up the new message. It tells me there's 8 messages, and then I flick it and they don't come up. Ad Geese wants to jump in with the atheism is a religion thing. Yeah, you're a genius. Go back to school. My go-to on Sunday, especially when the family is at newsmaking class. Church's newsmaking class? Is that what you call it, Scott Norris? I'm trying to get my head around the comment. I love that newsmaking class. South Bend, Indiana. So many Catholics. Notre Dame, Notre Dame, Notre Dame. You know what I got to say about Notre Dame? Fuck Notre Dame. Religious universities. Like a fucking. That's sweet of you. Best atheist dad someone could ever ask for. Thank you. And I was talking about that. My daughter had she had an incident, right? We let her go to Halloween with some friends, right? Was it Halloween, kid? We let her go to Halloween with a friend of hers for no, I forget what it was. She was for an overnight trip, right, with her friend, and the parents took her. I think it was Halloween. The parents took her to church. I didn't really know, and I didn't really care. I mean, I don't care if parents take my kid to church. I don't mind them learning about church. But when she went to the church, they had somebody do what they do at evangelical churches, and they have like a presentation, and then they like pressure people to accept Jesus as their savior right then and there, and they ask you to come up and say it right in front of people, and they ask people to commit, right? And my daughter, it happened to me when I was a kid, and I'd already accepted God in my confirmation. I was already a Christian, but when I went to a different church and they did it again, I was so Christian, I didn't want to be identified as somebody who didn't raise their hand for Jesus at that point when I was 14, probably 13, 14. And so I like did it again, and then like somebody came and grabbed me and they're like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to accept it. Can we get together in like a week and talk again about it? And I went home and told my parents the whole story. And my dad called and he's like, you know what? We have our own church. He's already confirmed. He misunderstood what you guys were about. He's not coming to see you again. And again, if it was an atheist family, they could have done the same thing. But in my case, it was just that I'd already been confirmed in another church, but I was bamboozled into it's a tactic. A kid can't say no when they're in a group with your friends, and all the people are like already either with Jesus or they're raising their hands that they want to get with Jesus. This is amazing peer pressure to do the same thing and to get up and say yes, okay, I'll dedicate my life to Jesus, and then they've got you on the hook, and then they start talking to you, and then the guilt starts, right? And right away, my kid came home and told me what happened. I'm like, really? That's what happened to you when I let you go on a fucking overnight? This is what I'm talking about. And she is a skeptical enough little person that I'm not really worried about it long term. But right now, she was an absolute experiment in and what happens to these kids' minds when people do this. She's too afraid now that she's said she's a Christian, and now that means she has to be a Christian. And if she goes against that, she might go to hell. And it's a real fear for her that shouldn't even be there. I shouldn't even have to deal with that psychology. And again, I'm not, she's a smart kid and she's just at that age where she's 12 and she doesn't want to feel like she's different from all her buddies. But this is how they get you. This is how kids who are not Christian get turned Christian, even though their parents don't have any desire for that to happen. But the people are out there actively trying to recruit other people's kids and make them Christians. Or maybe those parents wanted to raise them Muslim. Maybe those parents wanted to raise them anything but Christian, or maybe they wanted to raise them atheist. They've robbed you of your chance to do that in these uh, uh, really fucking sleazy fucking kind of sideways tactics that they use to do it. And it happened to my kid, so be vigilant. um when you go to a place like that, that's what they're after. That's what they do, and that's what they try to fucking um convert people whose parents aren't paying attention, and then they get lapsed Christians to those people aren't going to gripe about it, right? If you were raised Christian but you're not into it, and your kid comes back with this story, you're like, it's not going to bother you. If you're someone like me, you're going to be like, what the fuck? It's a violation of my rights as a parent. And again, if it's happened at the public school with a Muslim teacher, where the Muslim teacher said something to deny Christianity, and a kid went home and it's like, you know what, I'm really questioning this because my teacher said something that made a lot of sense. He said that God is just God, and that there's only one God, and you just need to admit and bow down before that God, and that all this other crap about that seems so silly anyway, about God um, impregnating Mary and then giving birth to a creature that was actually part of himself, and then like sacrifice. He's like, the guy made really good points that none of that makes sense, and really, God is the creator of all things, and you should just worship God and don't worry about the bullshit of Christian. That teacher would be fired the next fucking day. He would be fired. What's up, Gustavo? ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? Yeah, and it's horrible what happened to my daughter. But again, I'm jaded enough to know that sooner or later it was going to happen. It's a common experience in America with kids. If they have friends and the kid says, "Go come to Olanus with me," or "Come to this presentation," there's a cool comedian at my church. That's really what it's about in the end. Especially if it's an evangelical church, they're going to get to a point where they're like, "Thank you for listening to my stupid jokes, my corny fucking magic tricks that I did. Now, who wants to stand up and accept Jesus Christ as their savior?" And if you don't, in an atmosphere like that, you look like the asshole, right? And how many kids have the balls to be like, "No." Some of them, undoubtedly, and we hear from them on the thread. Some of them are, and they're great, and they're smart, and they do that. Um, uh, 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 I'm checking the YouTube real quick because I took it off the screen and I was like, but it's a shame. But in the end, you just got to deprogram your kids if you can, and hope that the damage isn't too great. I don't be as I know my daughter, I'm not too worried about the fact that in 3 years she's going to care more about anything than Jesus. But right now, it's just like, no, just because you were pressured to get up and do that doesn't mean you have to. You can change your mind anytime if you don't think you really meant it, and then none of it doesn't matter. Right now, she's struggling with what to do with that. She's like, I'm a Christian now, and I'm like, are you? Or did you just like get up and say that because everybody else was doing it? Do you really even know what that means? No. But they don't care. They're just trying to brainwash people and convert fucking soldiers. I've never been baptized or whatever that shit is. My no meant no. Yeah, good. Yeah, no. And I really admire kids who are smart enough to be like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, good thing. When was the last time an atheist knocked on your door trying to convert you? It's compulsory for youth to become religious in most of the Islamic countries. Yes, of course it is. There's no, and where's the free will then, right? Where's God's free will for you? Maybe that's why they're all afraid of being recruited gay. It's the same thing. They go to the gay pride parade, and then like the leader of the parade is like, "Okay, thanks for coming to the parade. Who wants to stand up and become gay now? You see how cool it is." Everybody needs to stand up and say, who's with me? Raise your hand now. From now on, you're gonna be gay, you're gonna engage in gay sex. Imagine if atheists did it. I mean, it's embarrassing. Nobody does that shit except Christian evangelists. Got kicked out of a Pentecostal church once because I showed my baptismal cert when asked if I was saved. You get kicked out for that? Well, you didn't get saved here. Take that fake ass fucking baptism certificate down down the street to the charlatan sham of a church where you got it. This is the real church here, buddy. We're Pentecostal. We raise our hands and we scream amen and we fucking roll in the aisles when we're happy. We roll back and forth in the aisles and we go. Christianity is designed off fear and control. And don't forget guilt. Your daughter is lucky enough to have someone she trusts at home to tell her the truth. Yeah, she is, and both my ex and I are like, you know what, God, you're not anything. You didn't do anything that anyone is going to hold you to. My son is 6 and his dad is a fundy. Why'd you fuck a fundy, you goof? Do all extremists act like that? That do all extremists act like that? I'm just teasing. Good godless. That's we love you. I'm not getting down here. That's too bad. That's a struggle. But it's an important one. I don't know who gets with fundies. If you're not a fundy, stay out from undy the fundy. Do all extremists act like that due to indoctrination? I don't know. I think some extremists have life-changing experiences that lead them to convert later in life, and it's harder to call them indoctrinated. Extremists. There's a little validity to the idea that extremism in Islam has been spurred on by colonization. I don't think that we can dismiss that. It's not the colonizers' fault that extreme Islamists blow up buildings on their own. But I do think that there's something to be talked about there, and the way that America, his foreign policy has treated other countries has led to uh, extremism. You know what I mean? I don't dismiss that idea. I haven't studied it enough to be like, yeah, you know what? It's America's fault that that Muslims are cutting people's heads off in Saudi Arabia for not believing. I mean, come on. But they're not unrelated. We've definitely have made our bed in some ways over there as a fucking imperial power. Free will is just the whole free will thing is bullshit. Even if there was no God anywhere, there still wouldn't really be free will. And that's another philosophical argument that I know people who love to make that argument, and it bores me a little bit. It's not wrong. It's not everything we do is informed by who we are, what we've been through, it's already in our DNA. You can't really make any choice other than the one you were going to make. So it's easy to see how there's really not any free will. A wealthy relative sent my sister to a summer camp where she was bamboozled all week. Wow, it's fucked up what rich people do with their money, isn't it? The things they harbor in the church and the things they kick you out for, right? That's fucking funny. Yeah. God, that's a good one. I'm gonna give you another one for that. Good godless. And if you're interested in what the church harbors, get ready for the new podcast. It won't be too long. It'll be out. And our guy, Sin Free Atheist, helped out. He's going to be the random writer at the beginning of the next podcast. Him and his thick ass Mexican accent. Put on your hearing aids and listen slowly, and you can decipher his words. I tease, you can understand him, but he's my guy. I love him, and he's awfully cute, and he's got a cool story of his own to tell, and that'll be on the next podcast, which is about, back to my original point, um, sexual mistreatment of people, or sexual proclivities that go hand in hand with church, and so I think that's everywhere. I think that the things that churches harbor, like you say, pedophilia rings, whatever, just, or even, consensual adults having like a swingers club, which happened in my church, with the preacher and the music director at the church. It's just like clandestine sex goes hand in hand with religion. It's undeniable. So the next podcast is called Molestation. Get it? It's a train station called Molest Station. That's where the subway is stopping for the next podcast, featuring the Sin Free Atheist. Question everything at Question Everything. Our guy Gustavo helped out with the podcast, so you can all look forward to that pretty soon. You should look up Kathy Kirk. She made a blind man see last week on a TikTok live. Wow, boy, have they documented that um, and recorded it and verified it for science, or is that just one of those miracles that we know happened? I was accused of sleeping with a pastor who was sleeping around. You left, and you hadn't slept with him. You're like the only one. I'm like, what? How am I getting accused of this? I'm the only one. Everybody, dudes fucked everybody else in the whole fucking congregation, and here I am, and now you're gonna accuse me of doing it too. Thank you, Green Spread. I really appreciate it. You said that last time. I really appreciate you listening to the podcast. That uh, makes me warm and tingly on the inside. It's a lot of work. Those especially those complex ones, and they're starting to get simpler, so I can get them out more with less little different bits that are highly edited and produced. Uh, but yeah, I appreciate you, and you guys can all find the podcast on Patreon first of all, and I should promote the Patreon. I do have a Patreon page, Atheist Underground, where I post the podcast for pledgers. Post the podcast for pledgers early. If you pledge, you get to see the podcast a couple of days early when it comes out, and I'm going to try to ramp up my efforts on that Patreon and use it. Like I know I blame Bill like puts all kinds of shit on our Patreon. Actually, Patreon's like a nice platform if you look at it and if you use it like a website. Um, or an app where you could just scroll down through. It's actually really attractive, I think, and I've only ever thought of it as like a money making way to post your stuff. But when you look at it, it's got a lot of it's an attractive page, and it's got a lot of possibilities. You can post all kinds of different shit. So I'm gonna just try to use that, is because it occurs to me that the people who do use Patreon like use it like we're using TikTok, where you just scroll and you watch the different shit that people that you follow. And I never thought of it that way. I don't know why, but I need to do that. So follow my Patreon if you can. Pledge $1. It'll really help. And I promise I think I'm gonna put all the limericks there because they're getting taken down. I don't. I'm a little bit gun shy. I can't post one about Muhammad. It gets taken down. And I got two or three people like, you're afraid to post one about Muhammad. I'm like, I've posted three about Muhammad. They fucking get taken down the next day because you snowflake pieces of shit. I'll post nothing but limericks about Muhammad. I don't give a shit. Dirty ass limericks about dirty ass people who marry a 9-year-old. It is a good app. Thank you, Jeddah. Yeah, I'm going to try to take better advantage of our Patreon. God dying, then coming back to life. What's that mean? You can listen to the podcast on iTunes or Spotify. Just Atheist Underground. You can find it. It'll pop right up on iTunes for you. It's called Atheist Underground. It's not hard. Everything I do is called Atheist Underground. Um, and it's on atheistunderground.com. If you do that, it'll take you to our Libsyn page where it just has all the podcasts right in a row and a couple of extra things. My great great grandmother was impregnated by a bishop in Spain and banished to Puerto Rico, where she was undoubtedly abused by more religious zealots afterwards in different ways. Yeah, sorry to hear that. But Spain in the news again. Spain, of course, opening up an investigation to what? Sexual abuse of minors in the church in Spain. It's Spain's turn. Madrid. Spain's Catholic Church is to open an investigation into alleged sex abuse of hundreds of children by members of the clergy dating back 80 years. They're going to do France one better. They went back 70, did France. Madrid's like, you know what? We're going to go back 80 years just to make sure we get more pedophiles than France did. I love it. It's the pedophile race in Europe. And they've got 251 allegations of abuse, and priests and some lay people from religious institutions. In a surprise to no one, the number of victims is at least 1,237, but could rise into the thousands, the paper said. Allegations concern 31 religious orders. 31 religious orders. Imagine the Catholic Church would be like 31 different fucking orders of stupidity that you can be a part of in order to come at your amazing fucking super deep studying of fucking ancient mythology, trying to find modern wisdom by reading the same fucking boring ass book over and over. But yeah, Spain about to uncover, and we'll wait sadly to see how many people's lives were ruined again by the Catholic Church in Spain. Dirty sons of bitches. Thank you, Andy Ocho. Appreciate you. Muhammad owns you. What Muhammad owns is nothing. He's dead. Could you do a video on problems with New Testament? Everyone uses New Test to justify the Old. Um, yeah, maybe. I'll add that to the list. There's, I don't know. Other guys do that better than me. I think, Captain Deadpool and dudes who study like actual seminarians like him. If you watch their stuff, you can really do that. The whole New Testament, Old Testament thing is frustrating with Christians, isn't it? It's like they hang on to the Old Testament just for Genesis, really, don't they? And Psalms because it's so full of evocative prayer. They hang on to it for the Old Testament. They hang on to it for Genesis and the creation story because that's the beginning of the myth arc. Original sin, and Jesus comes to save us all from original sin. So if we accept that Genesis didn't happen, which we know it didn't, then the whole Christian myth arc falls apart. And they have to people who don't believe in young Earth creationism have to see Genesis as a metaphor, and they have to justify somehow what Jesus really died for. You know what I mean? But there's just less of a literal take on it. And I grew up in a church like this, and it just wasn't discussed in depth. We knew Genesis was a metaphor. We know geological age. We know how life started on the planet. So obviously, Genesis is bullshit. It's people who didn't know those things that we know making up a story about how life began. So we know it's not true. So right there, Christian theology is debunked. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to argue any further on that with anybody. Christian theology revolves around Jesus coming to save us from the inherited sin of original sin from Adam and Eve. But we know Adam and Eve didn't didn't happen. So what's Jesus coming to save us from? It's just stupid. It's an undefensible position to have philosophically. So there you go. Um, but as far as doing a video on the New Testament is everything to the Christians. And I know that's what started that rant. Um, and again, the New Testament's I don't know. It's rife with problems. I'll put that on the list. I'm not sure if I'll get to that because it's not my milieu, shall we say? Um, Thanks for finding the podcast, Scott. Good deal. Jesus came to throw out the Old Testament. Really? Yeah, pretty sure he made several comments that indicate the opposite, my friend. Yeah, Noah's Ark, everything in Genesis. Yeah, we know. Are you familiar with the Bible Reload? It's a channel on YouTube. I think you would appreciate it. Maybe if I have time, I'll take a look at that. I really don't watch YouTube. It's just not in my schedule. I don't have time to scroll. Um, and I could probably change some things and do that. I don't know. It's tough for me right now to fit in more watching. It's hard to have time to create and still work and do everything else I got to do. So what's my point about what James the Builder? Snakes don't have vocal cords. Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean God didn't like let him talk. Okay, so God made a snake with no vocal cords talk, then he's the one who did it, right? And if it was Satan who gave the snake vocal cords for that minute, then uh, how do I tell my mother that she doesn't own a piece of the cross? She keeps it in her Mary shrine. No, your mother thinks she has a piece of the actual cross. What the fuck? Why wouldn't she just put a fucking a tourist stand outside her house and make the altar and charge people money? If she really thinks it's an actual piece of the cross, man, she could make bank off of that. Holy crap, dude! I'm sorry, Squeeze. I'm sorry. Um, I love you, Squeeze. You're my guy. But your mom dumb. Robbie Signs. Don't quote the Bible to us. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. What the Greeks wrote in Matthew, 200 years after Jesus died, has no bearing on reality. It doesn't mean anything. It's circular logic. Who gives a shit what Matthew says? Jesus said, "I came to fulfill the law and the prophets." Your mom sounds like she's schizophrenic. You have to keep fixing Mary's broken halo. Why wouldn't that fix itself? Why would Mary's halo need to be fixed? Wouldn't that just magically fix itself if it was anything? There's another one. There's this church down the corner that's got like a cross built on its peak that's concrete, and it's been broken by the weather over the years, and they've got stuff holding it down. They've got it buttressed with like wire and metal and cable so it doesn't fall in the street and kill somebody. It's like, why? Wouldn't God stop it from falling and killing somebody? Why would you have to take a step like that? Let moms have their myths. Oh, moms. My mom sure has hers, man. She just like, and that's that. I told my mom, she's like, I'll pray for you when she says that a lot. I'm like, mom, why would your prayer work if God has an almighty plan and an inscrutable plan, and He knows everything, and He's got a plan that's designed for a reason, and it's going to work out for the best for all of us. Why would He change that plan for your prayer? It doesn't. You see what I'm getting at here? It's illogical. He either has a plan, and what you're asking for is either in the plan or not. And by you praying for Him to change something that might not be in His plan, is in fact, and to admit that He doesn't have a plan, and He might change it because you, one of 7 billion people or 8 billion people in this entire universe that we know of, that's so big that we can't even see all of it, is ludicrous. It's just silly. And she just said, "Well, I still think it helps." I mean, you can just see the curtain slam down. There's no, and I knew it when I said it, but I can't help myself. I'm just like, Mom, thank you. I love I love your thoughts, but why can't you just give money to a charitable organization instead of praying for the victims of this, whatever, why don't you just do something? Well, I still think it helps. It's just, that's boom, they're done. There's no discussion. It just works for their brain. The prayer works for their brain. So yes, let moms have their myths. Poor moms. Yeah, Robbie, God gave us free will. We just talked about that. There is no free will. There is no God. And if God gave us free will, then why do we need why does He stop people from doing their free will? Why Job didn't have any free will? You know, he had to obey God's commands. Isaac didn't. Abraham didn't have any free will when God told him to stab Isaac with a. God's always threatening punishment. If you exercise your free will, so where's the free will? It's so dumb. If God already knows what's going to happen, He already knows the future, He knows everything. He already knows what you're going to do. Then you have no free will. He's already determined what you're going to do. The free will argument is literally one of the stupidest things that Christians say, and it makes so much sense to them. They're just like, "Oh, God wants you to come to Him on His own. He gave you free will to do it. Now you're so full of shit, buddy, that it's not even fun. Not even funny." Toot toot, Matt Hatter. What's up, Matt? What's going on today? John Paul Jones, 1776. I love that. I have not yet begun to fight. Now, there's some religious scripture. That is, and warmongering Americans can get behind that scripture, I'm sure. God is love. Yes, that's poetry. That's not reality. That's if God is a metaphor for love to you, then that's a perfectly valid concept of God. But how does that have a singular consciousness that pays attention to what everybody does on the planet? It's a whole different thing. God is just love. Really? He's got a lot of love for all those babies with leukemia and all those victims of a genocide. Got a lot of love for people who don't believe in the unbelievable, so He can send them to hell forever. Um, the God of the Bible certainly isn't love. You may call God in your mind love because that's your concept, and you're not. I don't know if you're following Christian dogma, but the Judeo-Christian God of the Bible is certainly not love. God is consuming fire. Is He like those guys in the circus that like, oh, he's a fire eater? God is consuming fire. How's that taste, God? My Sunday worship is catching either Goodfellas or Monty Python. Where do you see Monty Python still? And so I feel like I'm in 1978 watching repeats of Monty Python on like PBS. Where do you get that? Is it on Hulu? Where do you see Monty Python, man? If God is love, then why was my daughter stillborn? Good question, Happy Bunny. That's for you. And really sorry for your pain and your loss. That's horrible. But yeah, God's not real. He's neither is He love nor is He real. God free will is allowed to kids have fan called. Yeah, yeah, yeah. God's free will allows priests to molest kids in church, in his holy church. Do you think we can get rich buying silver before the dollar collapse? I don't know, man. I wish I was smarter with that kind of stuff. I'd be doing a lot better in my life. Uh, how come there are no monuments of God? There are. They're all just in his Jesus form, right? But that's a good one. That's a good question. Why are there no statues of God? There are only statues of Jesus, statues of Buddha, statues of. Man, they don't let you do statues of Muhammad, you know. Um, but yeah, it's just funny why there are no monuments of God. We certainly got art where we could copy that, um, the big white hair guy, that one that we all think of as the God thing. We could have monuments to God, but why not? Why don't we? God also created the devil and demons, and they all serve him. So who do we trust? Yeah, good one. Yeah, but no Joe Pesci statue. Where's my fucking statue? You can make me a little taller when you make the statue of Joe Pesci. W. America. I believe in God, and I don't think if you don't get on your knees every morning and pray, you're not fit to be president of the United States. That's right. Have you experienced shrooms? Yeah, I like shrooms. Shrooms don't really get me off. I've had a couple of good trips on mushrooms, but it's hit or miss with me. I've eaten some mushrooms and been like, yeah, the curtain's kind of wiggling a little bit. Give me a nice clean hit of acid. Fuck the mushrooms. It's yeah, mushrooms taste like shit too. Or like cramming a bunch of chocolate in your mouth and eating the fucking mushroom. Yeah, monuments equals idols. That's right. How come Christians don't care to discuss the Old Testament God? Well, first of all, they don't know how to. They don't read the Old Testament, so they don't care to. They don't know how to. They go. Monty Python's on Netflix. Cool, man. Thanks. Toot toot from charity from where? From Santa. Charity Santa tomorrow on the Polar Express. Sweet, man. Lux Fortuna. You're doing the charity. You're playing the charity Santa. That's cool. General McPherson. Thanks for joining, my friend. Odin Zeus, the old man in heaven. Odin Zeus 2.0. I believe in the universe. No one can argue with me if the universe exists or not. Yeah, you believe what you can verify, right? You believe what's there. Acid is the best. I agree. Good acid is just and great value, right? I mean, when I was in school, you could fucking get a hit of acid for like $4, $4. You get high for 12 hours, 14 hours, man. I mean, woo. Got to be careful with acid though. You got to trust the source. It could be ugly stuff can happen on shitty acid. Devil used to serve him, but he wanted to be God. He misled angels that are now demons. Burning warrior. One for the schizophrenic burning. You sound like an insane person. You know that, right? When you talk like that, you're on an atheist live and you come in and like, devil used to serve him, but he wanted to be God. He misled angels. It sounds like you're telling a story from what you are, a book of fiction. It sounds like you're just like popping up like an insane person talking. You know that, right? I mean, there's lives where you can get on and people be like, yes, you're so right. You're so right about that. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You come on here and say that, you literally reaffirm what we all already know, that Christians are irrational and believe things that are from children's fantasy books. It's absurd. Listen to yourself. Take a step back and fucking listen to yourself. But Trump was chosen by God. Another more proof that God's an idiot. I had special brownies and realized Batman talks weird. Batman. I'm Batman. That Christopher Nolan thing. What do I think about conspiracy theories? They're both conspiracies and theories. Yeah, conspiracy theories are custom made for the stupid. They're just it's human psychology to want to create order and see patterns where there aren't necessarily any. It comforts the brain, and the stupider you are, the more comfort your brain needs in those regards. And so, yeah, it's not really brain surgery to understand why conspiracy theories are so popular among people who also accept the grand conspiracy theory of God. It just makes their paradigm, makes their whole worldview more comfortable, knowing that they think they have the answer, thinking that they know they have the answer to these things. It calms their fucking simple brains. So if you need that, that's why it's there for you. If you're one of those people who hasn't evolved past the need for comfort myths, then you go ahead and you embrace that. But it's easy to see. All you got to do is study and understand that it's our nature. It's our nature to want to see patterns where there aren't any. It helps us survive. It's evolutionary. And so, conspiracy theorists fit right in that. People see patterns, people see connections, people take a little bit of information and make up the rest, right? And fit it right in with the conspiracy theory. They're going to come up with another conspiracy theory and they'll cram it all in. They'll find a way to make it all work together because just having figured it out makes them more comfortable in their brain. So it's not hard to believe that conspiracy theories run rampant in an undereducated society like the one that we're living in right now in the US. I was born into a religious family, but not like a zealot family. My mom was pretty religious and insisted on church every week, and my dad went along because everybody thought it was good. And again, we went to a nice church. We went to a couple of churches that were just mainline Protestant churches where you talked about, church was a fucking hour. If it went over an hour, people were pissed. You got in on Sunday, you saw your friends, you shook some hands, you glad handed, you were like, oh, what's up? You gossiped a little, you sat down, you sang a couple of hymns, you listened to one story from the Bible, you listened to one sermon. And the sermon was, if the sermon made the whole service go over an hour, then that preacher needed to start looking for another job because people weren't putting up with that shit. It was just perfunctory. And it was good. It was a nice experience. We learned. Sunday school actually taught us stuff that wasn't just indoctrination. They taught us about other religions. It was a real world experience. But by the time I was 16 or 17, I realized it was bullshit. And my mom was the only one left in the family who hangs on to the faith like that. My dad, they got divorced. My dad married a younger, more liberal, more educated person, and he's calls himself a druid now. He's just an agnostic. He's like, he doesn't take any of that shit seriously. It was just what to do because you had a young family, and it seemed like a good idea to keep the family morally centered because church wasn't a fucking center of explicit lunacy like it is today. Why was God born male as Jesus? Why not female? Because he couldn't sacrifice a female. If you sacrifice, the idea of sacrificing your only begotten son, it's powerful because that's the worst thing that could have happened to somebody in the ancient day. Today, if someone was going to make it up, maybe it would be. You know what I mean? Because we're still misogynistic and patriarchal as a society, but it's not like it was back in the day. Functionally, for a hunter-gatherer family or for a family in a settlement, in a society where it was becoming more of an agricultural based and industry based society, the worst thing that could happen to a family was to lose your firstborn son. Having a son born first was seen, right or wrong, as being absolutely desirable. As soon as you can, you need a son to get ready to take over the family business, to take care of things if dad dies early, a daughter's great, but legally and physically, doing things around the farm or wherever it was just seen as why firstborn sons are killed all the time in the Bible, because that's like the worst thing. It's like the big threat. Kill your firstborn son in Egypt. Kill your firstborn son to make sure you get Jesus when Herod was doing his thing. It's like all of that is because to the people listening to the myth, that's the most powerful, evocative thing that they could think of. This God loves you so much, he sacrificed his firstborn son. Can you imagine doing such a thing? If you had one son and three daughters, and someone came to you and said, "You could save the world if you let us kill your son," you couldn't do it. The people couldn't do it because the firstborn son was everything to them. It was everything. It's the only reason, besides the obvious need to perpetuate the patriarchy and the misogyny and God's image of being a man. It's like men were valued more than women. They still are. They really were in the ancient day. So Jesus was born as a male and as the only male son of God, because that would be the number one thing that God could give up. So it's just a story. It's just a myth designed to express how much God loves us. That's that, and keeping the female out of any position of power, either in the myth or in reality. Those two things are why Jesus was born as a man. Stopped going to church at 15, never believed in it. Good. See, I really respect that. When people are that young, and they're just like, I never believed it, even when I was younger. And when I finally got old enough to to do it, I just quit. I love that. The Mayans didn't discriminate; they killed everybody for God. Thanks for the roses, Deluxy. What is the best balance between mockery and teaching? I don't know. I'm the wrong guy to ask. Godless artist. Thanks for asking the question and putting it in the Q&A. Don't forget the Q&A box. See, it makes a little red dot. Even a geezer like me can remember to look and see the red dot. It tells me there is a new question. And so what is the best balance between mockery and teaching? Yeah, I don't know, because I'd be a horrible teacher, I have a feeling. Some people are like, you'd be a good teacher. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I get too snarky, and I don't have patience with stupid people. So I don't think that I would be a good teacher. Plus, both my parents were teachers, so it was like, ugh, the last thing I wanted to do was go down that road. But yeah, it is a good question. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm the right guy to answer, because I default to mockery. You may have noticed that if I don't agree with it, I'll mock it, and I don't give a shit what anybody says about that. Why? Because I'm old, and I'm also right. It's hard to be right all the time. It really is. I'm kidding. Wait, Jesus was born? I thought it was a myth story. Yeah, it is a myth story. I don't. Maybe Jesus was born, but I don't really think so. I'm a little bit leaning on the side of him never having existed. But either way, the myth was written to describe how much God loved you. He loved you so much that he would kill his only son. It's not like God can't go make a zillion sons tomorrow. That's not what's important. Important is it's his firstborn. And that gets people right where they live. To lose your firstborn son, can you imagine something worse? No. How was universe created? We don't know that it was created. What do I look like, a fucking? When people ask me that, how was the universe created? Like I'm some kind of fucking, like I got the answer. The leading astrophysicists and cosmologists and theoretical physicists and quantum mechanics, those guys with brains that are so fucking big they wouldn't even fit in a room. Those guys don't have the answer to that question. But this asshole here with a hat on TikTok might be able to tell you how the universe was created. There's no evidence, as I understand it, to show that the universe was created. For all we know, that the singularity always existed. Lachmal Anton, thank you. Lachmal Anton, thanks for the question. But yeah, I don't know how the universe was created. Why? Because no one knows, and we don't know if it was created. There's no evidence that it was. Mockery can be discreet in your fact giving to the religious. Yeah, I mean, I've mocked religious people too discreetly for them to get it. That's for sure. I'm not sure what you're getting out there, but I never understood God sacrificed himself to himself for himself because his creation did. Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. They didn't think it through. They didn't think the myth through. All they were thinking was, what can we put out there that would demonstrate God's great love for us, and that would be that he would sacrifice the number one thing. There was no, the early writers of the myth didn't necessarily subscribe to the idea that Jesus was God. That was decided later. Jesus's absolute divinity was decided later, as part of the First Council of Nicaea, and other philosophical moots, where people were like, well, I don't think Jesus. Yes, Jesus was God. No, Jesus was. There's plenty of people who were like, no, Jesus was just a man. He was the Son of God, but he wasn't divine himself. They had to decide that later. So the people who wrote the New Testament didn't necessarily write the myth with the idea that Jesus was God. They wrote the myth that God sacrificed his son. The part about Jesus actually being God himself came later, when they needed to fucking, enforce and solidify and consolidate the rules of the new religion for the sheep to be able to know what to follow, all on the same page. Otherwise, Christianity was going to, diverge into what we see today, which is a zillion different versions, right? They wanted to avoid that in the beginning, and they did for a certain amount of time. They got it all together, and they quashed the Gnostics, and they quashed the other sects of Christianity that didn't agree with Constantine's version, and they decided how it was going to be, and that's how it all got started. So the idea that anybody can fucking look at this objectively and say that this is true is stupidity. It's the epitome of brainwashed indoctrination. It just is. As soon as you look at the actual facts, the whole thing falls apart right away for you. You have to be willing to not and just accept. But it's all right there for you. It wasn't that long ago in the scheme of things. We know a lot of this shit. We know where the New Testament came from, and it wasn't from somebody who was there going, Jesus appears to be bleeding from his side as a result of this stab wound with a spear. And the soldier was a little rough with that. I think he could have done that a little gentler. And here now they're giving him vinegar. He asked for wine. These assholes gonna give him vinegar. Somebody writing down the facts, and then they're gonna run home and put it on the fucking word processor and come out with the fucking gospel. No, this shit was made up decades after Jesus supposedly crapped out on the old fucking stick of wood up there. Thumpers don't have heads, true. You're explaining to children, yeah, right? What's the topic? Anything you want to talk about, John Fidgem? John Fidgem. What's up, man? Bye, Dong the Impaler. Oh, you have a clever username too. I'm Dong the Impaler. Get it? Ooh, I might impale you with my dong. What a child. Thanks for being here. I should make fun of people with potty humor, right? I'm like the worst guy for that. I'd love for a thumper to go head to head with Casey Jones here. Yeah, well, people are like, do you debate? Do you debate all the time? And that's the thing. It's like if I debated someone, it would devolve into me just making fun of someone, and then I get blocked. You know what I mean? Or I get my live pulled down. But yeah, I got no patience for that shit. So an actual debate, people are like, would you ever debate a Christian? I'm like, you never could, but I would fight with one like that if I wasn't trying to stop myself from doing it, and we let one of these assholes, and we could be assured that they wouldn't just report me and get my channel banned or my shit taken down, and then I would go ahead and have it out. And you're right, I'd destroy any of these idiots who would want to come with this stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get to the point where we can do something like that. But I just, I really value what we've built with the channel, and I don't want to get kicked off for popping off and calling a snowflake a fucking piece of shit idiot snowflake with the brains of a fucking monkey, to believe the shit that they believe. Can you believe I'm atheist all 64 years of my life? Good for you, man. There's something to talk about, man. Born atheist, stayed atheist. You should be proud. Yeah, you atheists with your logic and science, your facts and your evidence. Who do you think you are, you sons of bitches? TikTok will not silence me. Repent. Jesus will return soon. Yeah, fucker's been saying that for 2,000 years now. Jesus said that. Jesus thought he was living in the end times, right? And here it is. You just set your fucking watch and you just sit on your couch and you wait for that, buddy. What a waste of a life. God, what a waste of a fucking human existence. Waiting for Jesus to return? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you think Christianity was used to consolidate power in post-Roman Europe? Yeah, I think that's, I'm going to read some stuff that people have recommended for me, but I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah. Constantine saw it as useful, and he was right. Jesus won't be coming back anywhere. Why would he? If Jesus was real, why would he come back here? He's been returning soon for 2,000 years now. He's probably using the Amtrak. He's probably using the American transportation system to get fucking back here. That's why he can't get back. If the government can perpetuate the UFO myth, the church can perpetuate God as a myth. Yeah, yeah, they can. I found out yesterday the Quran's books are organized largest to smallest rather than chronologically. Yeah, the actually the version it generally is. It depends on whose translation you use. But yeah, the Quran's books are organized largest to smallest, and I think that's because they know that it's nearly unreadable. You get rid of the big, long, boring ones first, and the later you go, they get shorter. And you're like, oh god! And I'm reading it now. That's why I know this. It's fucking terrible. And every time I hear somebody tell me that it's a linguistic miracle of Arab, okay, great. What's that mean? First of all, I don't believe it because if the translations are even remotely fucking close, then the repetitive nature of the message would make it so that it's not a linguistic miracle. I get that it's probably beautiful in Arabic. The way it's phrased in the English translation makes you know that. And Arabic, I think, is very flowery in general. I don't know anything about Arabic. I wish I did. I wish I spoke Arabic. I think it's a beautiful language. But people insist that the Quran is a linguistic miracle. or at least like really really special and unique, which is what I was hoping for when I read it. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this, because I can get behind that. If it's evocative reading, that's awesome. It doesn't have to be true or godly or real, but if it's really interesting literature, that's great. I'm all about it. It sucks, and I can't say it about it in Arabic because I can't read it in Arabic. But again, if God like rendered a perfect book only in one language and then in all other languages it seems stupid, it's just like, what kind of work of God is that? No, it's not a work of God. It's a work of really really intelligent scribes who put together, just like the King James version of the Bible. The King James version of the Bible, say what you want, is a landmark of written English. It's a fucking beautiful 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 piece of written English that added phrases to the culture that will be with us till the end of time. It changed the English language. It changed like Shakespeare. The King James version of the Bible was written by the most educated scholars that England could find to try to fucking get it right. And what they came up with, whether it's godly or ungodly, whether it's true or not, it could be accurately described as what did he call what did she call a miracle of English linguistics. It could easily be described that way, the King James Bible. It's fucking brilliant writing. It's brilliant writing that the world had never seen before. So to say that about the Quran doesn't mean dick in terms of its reliability as a fucking handbook for anything that happened that's real. Great. So it's really pretty Arabic. Great. That means it's from God. What? I know. I hate to insult monkeys, man, but I do that all the time. And calling people monkeys. And my girlfriend's, gets mad because she thinks it's like a racist thing. But I call my dog a monkey when my dog's doing something stupid. I don't know. It's just, I had a friend who said that, and he had a southern accent. He was always funny. But you do something stupid, like if you stub your toe. Well, watch where you're walking, you monkey. He used to say shit like that, like his squeaky voice. Just played poker with that guy last night. Thanks, Evil Irish Grin. You have a happy godless Sunday yourself. Although my father came out the Catholic Church. What? Yeah, here in Maine. Thank you. We're getting back to Maine again. Most are atheists. We never mention religion. You're the atheist, or you're just like a lapsed Christian who's like, yeah, it's good. It's in the background, and I got to go pull the lobster pots. My great 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 grandmother has been waiting for Jesus to return. Yeah, it's keeping her alive. She's like, he's coming soon. I can see it. I'm 146. I just know Jesus is coming in my lifetime. It's what's keeping me alive. Bring me a cup of tea, sonny. I'm cold. Where's my shawl? The Jesusites do wear a lot of crosses. I think the whole PTSD thing for Jesus coming back to the US, he'd be like, the cross is as big as the whole sky everywhere. He's like, Jesus, you people. You sent me a Q&A? I don't see it up there. General McPherson. I'm sorry. I'm pulling up the Q&A and I only see the one question about mockery and teaching. So sorry about that, dude. Yes, another white pasty dude talking about atheism, BLM. Um, yeah, I think we've been through that. We understand that we're white. We do. We understand that, and it's too bad that most of the visible atheists have been white. But God, we have so many great atheists of color, and women atheists if you're still harping on that old thing, then you're just being an old dick. We're talking about atheism because it's important to us, and you know I might be the pastiest way. My cheeks are kind of rosy here. I'm not really very pasty. There's a lot of pasty people out there. I put on a nice golden tan in the summer, I'll have you know. And my cheeks are always rosy all year round. So you can call me pink. You can call me red in the summer. You can call me the big red forehead, like they often do once that sun starts cooking my skin to the nice golden tan that I've been used to for 57 years. But pasty, yeah, doesn't really describe me as much as some other folks. But yeah, thanks for your input there. Yeah, it's awful when white people talk about atheism. It's just God really gets to me. Um, yeah, every language is special to its speakers. Every language is special, just like every speaker is special. What state am I in? We're in Wisconsin, bud. Where you been? Keith Peters. Take care, Jeff Smith. That's all right. It's after 12:30. We're rolling today, and I really appreciate all y'all being here. Throw a couple more questions at me if you got them. Polymath, our girl here from Chicago. I don't know why I said girl. I think because Polly. What's up, Chicago? I don't know if you're a man or a woman, or intersex. If God is all powerful, why the flood? Just snap fingers and reset everything and start over. Yes, well, then you don't get to like hear the screams and watch people like bobbing and floating and suffering and all of that. So that wouldn't be any fun. So that's why God didn't do that. If we didn't keep year zero where it is, we're getting close to human year 5,000. That's better, right? Shouldn't we do that? What do you mean? What do you mean by human year? Um, is that when human? I think humans been around longer than 5,000 years, haven't we? Bobbing for sinners. This is Big Mom. That's awesome. He wanted to go bobbing for sinners. What if like Noah's out on the deck and he's just like people are like, come up for air and his huge mouth comes out and just like he tries to like fucking get a fucking sinner out of the ocean without having to jam his head all the way down to the bottom of the sea to press it against the ground to get it. You ever bob for apples is what you have to do, right? There's no way to do it other than force the apple against the bottom of whatever you're bobbing. Um, but God should bob for French fries, man. Fuck that guy. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea. Thanks, Lily loves Shih Tzu. God did enjoy watching suffering in the Old Testament. He really did. Um, that's why the Bible's like two different books completely. They don't really go together at all. It's just because of the arc that I described earlier of original sin to the redemption, and through the line of Israeli kings. It's just myth telling. It's good storytelling. You know what I mean? Hollywood shows the same kind of arcs when they write a simple formulaic story. It's just not rocket science, man. Um, I really appreciate you, man. I love the perspective of other atheists. Feels less lonely. Thanks, Green Spray. We love you, man. So, what year would we actually be without the whole year zero for Jesus' death? I don't know. I'm not. I don't know what. Um, I'm not sure when. What we would base that on. When humans first appeared. When humans first started writing stuff down. Yeah, what does the year matter? There's a good one. This is star date. We need star dates. This is star date 1219 2021. In Islam, God creates humans that can sin and would enjoy doing so, then creates a personal demon for every single one of them, then creates angels that write down the bad things they do, then he expects them to be sinless, but he loves them though. But yeah, that's the one thing that strikes me most about reading the Quran is that it over and over says that God will open the hearts of those he will, and he will close the hearts of those he will. So it's God's fault. If you don't believe, it's because God made you not believe. It's over and over in the Quran. It's repeated almost as much as there'll be a grave chastisement for the disbeliever, and that God is great, all-knowing, merciful, powerful, nothing escapes his eye. Like these three things are repeated over and over and over again. And one of those things is that God created the non-believers, and God, God knows he purposely is closing the heart of someone who could open the heart of everybody and have them all believe. So it's right in there that God creates the non-believers and makes it impossible for them to believe. So how's he punish them for it? I mean, it's just stupid beyond even discussion. Anybody who tries to fucking uh thank you. I always enjoy doing it, Picard. Number one, make it so. Make it so, number one. Engage. You are trifling with the primal instincts of our species. Love Patrick Stewart. If I was slimmer, I would get like one of those Star Trek uniforms and shave and do a Patrick Stewart one Halloween. That would be funny. I still might try. I'd have to gotta do some work on my abs before I do that, man. My youngest son's middle name is Picard. Wow, you are a Trekker. That's that's pretty funny. Uh, yeah, modern humans exist for like 200,000 years, right? So I missed why you said that human year, General McPherson. I'm trying to go back. That's what I meant by human year. I'm scrolling back to try to see what. Yeah, I'm missing the first part of that, so I'm not sure what you're referring to. So sorry. But our calendar doesn't have a year zero. It has a year one. There was no year zero. It went from one BC to one BCE. There's no or BCE to CE. There's no year zero. The year one is the year that Jesus was born. What's God's fixation on foreskins? He actually makes crafts out of the foreskins. He makes wallets and shit out of the foreskins. Animal sacrifice, I just, I think there's not a lot of meat on his astral plane where heaven is. There's not a lot of pasture for farming. So I think he actually does need animal sacrifice if he wants to enjoy a steak. All right, gang. You won't fully understand the Quran unless you understand the language, and it's not from God. Period. Period. I don't know. I don't disagree with you. You might that might be true. You might not understand the Quran fully if you don't understand the language. Then, but then it didn't come from God for everybody, right? It came from Arabs for Arabs. I didn't. I'm gonna go see Spider Man tonight. I think. Thanks, man. My boy couldn't wait. I'm gonna see him over Christmas, of course, and he's a huge Spider Man fan. But he made his mom take him last night, so I'm gonna go see it with the girlfriend tonight. Who doesn't love Zendaya? She's just magnetic. We're big fans of Euphoria was a great show, and I'm a big fan of Zendaya. I think she's really talented and magnetic. Um, yes, Spider Man definitely on the list. I'll probably go see it tonight and then see it again with the boy because mom didn't want to take him to see 3D or 4D. They have a 4D theater down there where like it'll rain on you and shit. We saw like Endgame, and it was so cold that we couldn't even enjoy the movie. We saw Endgame at the 4D theater down there, and it's like blowing fucking water and rain and wind on you and shit, and like we're like showing up in shorts and stuff, and like it was like distracting. It was like it really had to go see it again in like 2 days at just a 3D theater. Um, yeah, the new Doom flick is fun. I watched it right away, and she has a small part in it, but yeah, she's still beautiful. Um, is it good? Good. Yeah, it got the typical a little less favorable reviews than the other Spider-Mans. I think again because they just make it so big and complicated. Critics don't love that when there's 50 villains and it tries to do too much, But if you're a fan like I am of the MCU and the whole, I think the whole Spider-Man, they've done such a great job. Um, Tom Holland and everybody involved in the new Spider-Mans to try to come up with movies after the Tobey Maguire trilogy. Sam Raimi, is it right? Or Mendez. I always confuse those two. Um, of the early 2000s were so good. It's like in the end, if they never made any more Spider-Man movies, then we'd have to be pretty satisfied with that. But to do it again and freshen it up and make it, fit in the way they did, and now the brilliant move of the multiverse and using those, I fanboy, ding 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 ding. I go crazy for that shit. I just love it. So yeah. No, that theater is in Charlotte. I don't there might be a 4D one somewhere in Chicago. That this was in Charlotte, North Carolina when I was down there when Endgame came out. Oh, is it gonna be I was gonna say, is it gonna be next Dune? It, like, didn't really end. Is it because it, like it was really good, but when it got to the end, I'm like, "Fuck, there's way more to the story than this, isn't there?" So I'm glad to know if they're gonna come out with more. Get through the whole Loki series. I had the sort of the same impression. It's a little bit odd, but in the end, I liked it. I didn't like it as much as either WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I thought was really great. I thought that was 6 episodes that were just fabulously produced with very few missteps. Um, are we enjoying Hawkeye? Are we liking Hawkeye now? Again, it's a little bit more family oriented, and it wasn't like so incredibly thrilling. But now that it's starting to get into it, and Florence Pugh, and it's taking up the story from Black Widow and moving along. So you got to watch them all, don't you? If you're a fan of the MCU, like I'm gonna have to see the Eternals, even though it was garbage apparently. But how you're not going to see it? I'm just not going to pay for it. I'll wait till it comes out on Disney, and I'll watch it. Um, yeah, WandaVision really good and different, right? Really, just to me, that's man, that's groundbreaking TV. Really, really different. I was thinking outside the box. Um, I've enjoyed all of them. And Loki was I like the look, that whole kind of deco feel of of the wherever the fucking he goes with the timekeepers. Um, and I think it got better as it went along, so I got into it. Are you watching Titans? Yeah, I might have to look at that. I haven't seen any of that stuff. Hello from God occupied Palestine. What's up, Ron? Ron by 5. Good luck in Palestine, bud. We had somebody from Israel fucking checking in earlier, and I didn't. Uh, he was a friendly guy. I have no reason people live in Israel and it's not their fault or whatever. They're not necessarily involved in the Zionism that's fucking embarrassing us all. But go Palestine, man. Love Palestinians. All right, 12:45 already. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. I love all you guys. Make sure you look us up on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on patreon.com, and at cafepress.com, Atheist Underground Gear / Atheist Underground Gear. And I will see you Wednesday, if not before, right? Gotta make some videos. I appreciate you. I would make love to all of you in a row if I could. You guys have a great fucking Sunday. Get out and do something cool, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye now.